Hear from Sebastian Gorka, former deputy assistant to the president and a supporter, as you just heard, of Roy Moore. He's in Washington tonight. We should point out that we invited the Strange campaign to participate in this segment. They did not accept that offer. Dr. Gorka, thanks for being here.
It's my pleasure, Brett.
I want to talk about this race, but at first I want to ask you about this breaking news about the Department of Homeland Security notifying 21 states that Russian hackers attempted to breach their systems before the 2016 elections. I'm just wondering your thoughts on that and why it may have taken almost a year to tell those states.
I don't have inside knowledge on why it took so long for DHS to make that decision. There's all kinds of forensic computing matters that have to be run to ground. But my reaction is it's very good that this information is out there. It shouldn't surprise anybody. The idea that Russia trying to undermine democratic elections is a new thing. Well, somebody should crack open a history book. They've been doing that since 1917, since the Soviet Union was formed. So it's not news, but it's great to have this as a wake-up call for us to understand just how much of a anti-status quo actor Vladimir Putin and his regime are.
Yeah, and we should point out the DHS says that they don't have any evidence that any of those states, even if compromised, had to do with the vote tally.
Yes.
But the president does say this is a hoax, the Russian interference thing.
Look, there's two issues here. There's what my former colleague Kellyanne called the Russian concussion and the delusion of the collusion. There is no look. The president told me in the Oval Office they will not find any connection to me because there isn't any. That's just hyperbole. That's Clinton, Podesta, the left-wing media unable to digest the fact that they lost the election when the New York Times said Hillary was a shoo-in at 92% on the day of election. There's the other issue of decades and decades and decades of Russian activities in democracies like America. So let's separate the political fluff, the hysteria, from true intelligence work, which is what the DHS is talking about today.
All right, I appreciate you taking that question. The race down in Alabama, President Trump is endorsing Luther Strange. You have always supported President Trump. Why are you not supporting him here?
I'm supporting his agenda. This isn't about who the president has endorsed with great pressure from Mitch McConnell. And let's be accurate about what happened tonight. I was told Steve Law, who runs Mitch McConnell's PAC for this race, actually accepted to come on your show. And when he heard I was coming on, he got a yellow belly and just ran. So that tells you the establishment is afraid of the president's agenda winning in Alabama on Tuesday.
But I guess, Dr. Gorka, what I'm saying is you're separating the president from the president's agenda. How is that the same sentence? Like the president, isn't the president in charge of his agenda?
You have to read my resignation letter to the president. You can read it at Breitbart.com. We left the room, we left the building, the White House, the Oval, Steve and myself, because people who had nothing to do with the Make America Great Again agenda were outnumbering us. Their voices were becoming louder. That's a temporary state of affairs. The president has gone with the forces of the establishment on this one candidate. But guess what happens? When Judge Moore wins on Tuesday, it will strengthen the president because now he'll be able to go to the establishment GOP, to the swamp dwellers and say, hey guys, we are back on my agenda. This wasn't worth it. So the president is going to stay. He's going to return to the Make America Great Again agenda. We just have to help him, and we're going to do it from the outside by endorsing people like Judge Moore.
I only have a few seconds here, but isn't it kind of ridiculous if you think about it that the Republicans are spending some $20 million on a primary where likely the senators would vote the same way?
Well, I don't think he would. It's a real embarrassment that Mitch McConnell has spent $9 million on a professional lobbyist who was put in place as a senator by a governor who then had to be removed from office. What does that tell you? We could have spent those $9 million on lots of really important things for Americans. So, yeah, I think Mitch, it's a sad indictment of the GOP swamp dwellers.
Dr. Gorka, thanks so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Brett.